This is Professor Brooks English, and today we're going to learn how to format a paragraph. The subject of our paragraph is what I love. So to start, I'm going to open up a new Microsoft Word document, new blank document. I'm using Word 2011 for Mac. Most likely you'll be using a PC and using a Korean version, so the formatting and the placement of the tabs and menus will be different. It's up to you to find them. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to format our margins and set it up so that you can see everything clearly. You can also go up here and change it there. And we're in Home. And the first thing that I'm going to do is type my name as we've learned how to do in our tutorial on registration, like this. I'll center it on the right. The next line will be the date. And we'll put CE2 section, whatever yours is. So you put your section 18 or 38 or whatever it might be. Section 27, okay? Then you make an extra space and you're going to put your title. Now you can change this title if you like. We'll center it. Actually, we're going to have two spaces here, not one. And then one space here, and here we're going to actually center left. What we'll do is we'll indent a tab, which is approximately let's count it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. 13 spaces. Now normally what I do is I use the ruler and I make 5 spaces. I actually don't like 13 spaces. So what we do is we'll go back, center left, and we'll go ahead and create this. That's 5 spaces. Now to test it, we can see. All right, now that should be there should be one space between the title and the body of the paragraph, and there should be 2 spaces here. Okay. Now next we're going to actually highlight the title and we're going to make it bold. Okay. And we're going to highlight everything by using select Control A or Command A in Mac, and we're going to change the font to Times New Roman. There we go, and you can just click T and it will take you down here to Times New Roman. And we're going to use font 12. Okay. And then we're going to change the title to 14. We're also going to change our margins in layout. Go to margins, and we're going to change our margins to 1.5 centimeters around. Okay. Now this is to save paper if we're writing a longer article. Normally it will be 1 inch, which is about 2.5 centimeters. This is the normal one. But for saving paper and writing class, we're going to use 1.5. Okay. Great. So first thing is if you notice this red line underneath, it basically says that there's some kind of error, but actually there isn't. So I right-clicked it, the error went away. Okay. Sometimes it will give you spelling suggestions, grammar suggestions, depending. All right, so we're going to start writing our essay. I want you to choose something that you love, that you want to talk about. It could be a person, a thing, an activity, anything. There's no limit. Today I'm going to talk about my carpentry class that I recently started at a carpentry club near my home. Okay, so the next step is, now that I've written my paragraph, I'm going to actually double space it. Okay, so I'm actually going to come up here to just below here, and I'm actually going to go to spacing, which is back in home, and I'm going to come here and click 2. Wow, look at that change. See how that changes everything? And notice the spacing. Notice that this is still single spaced, okay? And notice that this is all what double spacing looks like. Why do we double space? We double space because it allows a professor like me to come and correct things and make handwritten notes. And it also is really much easier to read. Also notice that all of this right here is center left. If you look here, it's all put to the left. Do not use this. This is justify, and it makes it very difficult to read on the right-hand edge. So I always ask my students to do center left, except for the title, which is center, and of course up here, which is center right. Okay, that really creates proportion, and it's really easy to read. So you have here, you have your title, you have your detailed information, you might even put your student number or something like that. And then here you have an indentation to mark the paragraph. And then down here, I encourage you to put in a page number. Now, with one paragraph, you don't really need a page number, but I just want you to develop a habit of actually putting in page numbers. If you have more than one page, it makes it so much easier for the professor or you to keep track of all of your pages. So we're going to put in page numbers, insert page numbers, and we'll put it right at the bottom in the right-hand corner. See that? Very good. Next, I want you to always put 2 spaces between all sentences. This ensures that I have space to actually, as your editor, make notation, and move sentences around with arrows and things like that. In a normal paper, you would have 2 spaces. If you were publishing this for a newspaper or a magazine, you would only have 1 space, or a web page. You would only have 1 space between sentences. But for all of our papers, we're always going to have 2 spaces. Now, the next stage of writing your paragraph is to change your title into something that is personal to your paragraph. So, for example, I say what I love, but I'm actually talking about carpentry class. So I might change it to something like the scent of pine, okay? Which would be about, I think that's one of the most wonderful images and feelings of this paragraph, which is about Mother Nature and actually having pine and things like that in one's life, and feeling closer to nature and the body, not being in the head so much. So I changed my title, The Scent of Pine. Notice you need to review the rules for capitalization. This is very important in basic writing, is that when you do titles, the first word, no matter what it is always capital. The first letter of the first word is always capitalized. And then all the proper nouns are capitalized, and nouns, verbs, and prepositions only if they're more than, say, 5 words. So, for example, inside, outside would be capitalized, but with, for would not be capitalized. Okay, so that you're going to keep them of, and articles. If they don't, if all articles, unless they're part of a proper noun, or unless they start with the first word, will be capitalized. Great. So we have that, and then also we need to change all of the I's to the third person. Now, in academic writing, one of the things that's really important is objectivity. So what you're trying to do is create distance between you and the thing you're talking about. And one of the ways to do that is to change everything, all the personal pronouns of I, into a name or he. Okay? So I could change this. For example, I can go into Control F. Replace. There it is right there. Okay, and you just have to try to find it. On every word, it's different. So we're going to find I. We're going to search for I, and then we're going to replace with Greg. And we can replace all. Okay, so, oops. Why did it do... Oh, that was a mistake. So I'm going to undo that by Control Z. And Control Y will put it back, and Control Z will undo it. And I'm going to actually go here, whole words only. Okay, so I'm going to change it to whole words only. No, I don't want to ignore case. So let's go back. And we'll go back here and we'll change ignore case. Let's see if that works. Yes, it did. We'll replace, 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 not replace, skip, and I can just do this one on my own. Now, the other thing is we want word variety. Now, when you're writing an essay, one of the things that you want is you want not to repeat the same words all the time. Okay? So I say up here, for many years Greg had longed to work with his hands making something, and today was the day in which he, okay, had the first of many classes in carpentry at the local woodworking workshop in a shabby rundown office building near his apartment in Seoul, South Korea. As now, for Greg, I'm going to actually change it to something else, some other kind of 형용사 or adjective. Something like, as this lonely carpenter entered the room, the shop, the scent of pine filled his lungs, and the warm glow of the electric heater matched the smiles greeting him from his instructor and assistant. Greg said hello and took out a crumpled piece of paper on which he had drawn out his detailed plan. And designed the night before of a meditation platform. Wide-eyed and curious, his instructor looked it over, and after some comments offered him some suggestions to enhance the design and converted centimeters into millimeters. He asked him if he'd like a cup of coffee in his broken English. Actually, this should be the instructor. And Greg gladly accepted. Thus began his first day of carpentry class and what would become a deep love unfolding. This concludes your tutorial on formatting your paragraph.